Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and this is Stitched Up. So today I'm back with you for another Friday Sews. I haven't done one of these for ages, and I know that I was only saying in my last vlog that I don't get the opportunity to do them very often at the moment, particularly with it being heading into winter, because obviously by the time I get home from work it's really dark, so I can't film in an evening, so I only generally get the opportunity to film each weekend now. But I'm off work this week, which is wonderful, so I have had the opportunity to film, so I thought I would do a Friday Sews for you. So this is going to be the last sewing vlog, I think, before Vlogmas starts. I can't believe next week, Monday, is the start of December and the start of Vlogmas. So yeah, that is scary. It's really come around really quick. But anyway, let's just crack on and I can share with you what I have made this week. I have 3 things to share with you, and I've got some gorgeous new fabrics to share with you too. But before we start, I just want to say I have just filmed this vlog and I forgot to wear my microphone, and as I put it into my laptop to start editing it, I thought, oh, the problem is where my conservatory is, literally about sort of 2 miles over that way is a busy motorway, and dependent on which way the wind is blowing depends whether you can hear it or not. And you tend to hear it quite a lot in our conservatory if the wind is blowing in this direction, which it is today. And I totally forgot that I'd not got my microphone on with the noise cancellation, which can drown it out. So yeah, and the hum of the motorway over the top of me talking was just, oh, so I've had to scrap it and start again, which is really frustrating. But anyway, I am wearing my microphone now anyway, so I hope this sounds okay. Anyway, I will start with what I am wearing. So you might already have seen a little sneaky peek of this if you watched my stories on Instagram a couple of days ago. I was watching the lovely Alison, who is so like Dotty, one of her vlogs while I was sewing this up. But yes, this is the Jackson tee that I made on Saturday or Sunday, I'm not quite sure. But I wanted to make a load of Jackson tees, and I showed you the fabrics that I had chosen from my stash in my last vlog. And I got this one cut out and sewed up the other day, and I am super happy with it. I will insert some photos of me wearing it so you can see. But essentially the Jackson tee comes in a couple of versions and you can have different lengths. So there's like 4 versions in total: t-shirt version and a long sleeved top. I have gone for the long sleeved version in this gorgeous cotton jersey that I got from, I think it was First for Fabrics, I'm not quite sure, but it's beautiful. I love this leopard print in the blues because they're cooler tones which really suit my skin tone, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. The only adjustment I made to this pattern, I made the size 12 and I did the long length, but I added 1 inch to the sleeves, but that's the only adjustment I made. Otherwise it is sewn up as is. I have used this gorgeous navy ribbing from First for Fabrics for the neckband, the waistband and the cuffs, and yeah, it's just lovely. So I haven't actually made any more. I think I had planned, hadn't I, in that last vlog to get 3 or 4 of them all cut out and sewn up over the weekend, but I only got this one done, I'm afraid. I haven't got any of the others cut out yet because I really don't like batch sewing. I know some people thrive on that kind of process, don't they? But for me, I just like to do one thing at a time and see it through to the final make and then move on to the next one. So I got this sewn up, and then I decided to park the Jackson tees, the rest of them, because I needed to do a little bit of tidying up in my old sewing room, because since I moved out of there, since I moved my sewing desk out of there into here, it's become a bit of a bomb site, if I'm honest, and yeah, there was stuff all over, so it really needed a proper sort. So as I've been off this week, we've been doing some work in the bathroom upstairs, which is well on its way to being finished now. Fingers crossed we get that finished for Christmas. But yes, I have had a lot of time off this week, off work, to be able to do a little bit in the bathroom and get some tidying up done as well, and sorting through things. So one of the things you might notice is my calyx units have come through now into here. 2 of them anyway. Obviously there's still plenty of them in the old sewing room, but 2 of my calyx units are now here. Now this is the lovely Nimue's fault, who is one of my lovely viewers, and I've met Nimue at one of Sian's retreats. She's lovely. But Nimue mentioned about moving the calyx under here, underneath my pegboard, because I think when I talked about setting up my sewing space and the fact that I've got my sewing cabinet here underneath the window looking out onto the back garden, which is lovely, it's lovely to sew here, but because of the way this works, this sort of lid here comes open to put your overlocker on, and as I had this right up against the wall, I couldn't open this out because it would have hit my pegboard. So what Nimue mentioned was to move my sewing cabinet further up and put the calyx units underneath my pegboard, so that actually I could then still use this for my overlocker. And that's exactly what I've done. What a brilliant idea. So thank you, Nimue, for suggesting that. It's a game changer, and it means now I can fully open this cabinet up as intended to get my overlocker out when I need to use it. So I've got room underneath that ledge to put my legs when I am using my overlocker. So thank you so much for suggesting that. Brilliant idea, and it's working really well. So I haven't sorted through all the cubes in my calyx unit yet. I've done a couple of them, but not all of them. So I'm going to do that as a separate vlog and go through it with you about what I've got in those and how I'm organising it, etc. But for now, it's given me a little bit more space as well, which is great for my workspace. And yeah, it's working really well, really well. I'm really loving being in here on a sunny day. We've had a few sunny days this week, and I've been in here sewing, and it's just been lovely sewing out looking at the garden. So yeah, really enjoying that. So Jackson has been done. I still am planning to make the others that I talked to you about in my last vlog, but then I moved on to my second bake, which is a plan that's been on my plans for the last month, and I'll just grab her and show you what I made. So here is my next make, which is the trench coat by Sister Mag Patterns. Now you might remember this has been on my plans for a few weeks now, that I had it all cut out and I'd taken it with me to the Lake District last weekend or the weekend before when I went with the girls. And yeah, I had planned to do this then and just didn't get round to doing it, and it's been right at the top of my mind, ready to do. And I thought once I'd done the Jackson, I thought, you know what, before I make any more Jacksons, I'm going to get this made up. So I got this made up over the weekend, well, I started it on Saturday, I think, finished it, no, I didn't quite finish it on Sunday. Monday morning I just had to hem it and put the buttons and button band on, but she's now completely finished, and I really, really love this coat. Now I am going to make a separate vlog about this because it deserves a vlog of its own, to do a pattern review, because there were issues with the instructions and there were a few errors and some things that left me scratching my head, and even now I still don't think I did the right thing, but I've made it up as I feel it's supposed to be, and I'm really happy with it. So yeah, I will do a separate review vlog on that for those of you that are interested. But what you've got is you've got this boxy style short trench coat with button bands down the front. So you've got 3 buttons and buttonholes. You have a collar and collar stand, and then inside it is unlined, but you bias bind all the seams. So I have used this olive satin bias binding that was in my stash that I think goes really well with this actually. So it meant that I didn't have to buy anything new. Unfortunately, I didn't have quite enough to do all the seams that you are supposed to bind in the jacket. So I did have enough to do the side seams and around the sleeve heads, but I didn't have enough to do the hem, which I would have liked to have done that if I'm honest, because you are supposed to bias bind the hem as well. So I ended up just having to turn the hem up a couple of times, and I've used the blind stitch on my sewing machine to finish that off. It does need a really good press. I have pressed it a couple of times, but I think it needs a little bit more pressing if I'm honest. But otherwise, I love how this binding goes with the main fabric. This fabric, if you remember, is the ex-designer coating that we got in our Fabric Godmother Dream Wardrobe earlier this year. Came in different colourways. I got this beautiful pistachio colour and I love it. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I do have a fair bit of this left, but yeah, what else you have is you have these really lovely 3/4 length sleeves. So they're not full length sleeves, but it would be an easy adjustment to make if you wanted to lengthen them. And then they have this sleeve tab detail with sort of sleeve loops, if you like, and then a little buckle on as well. The sliders that I've used are gunmetal ones that I got from my local boys. I think they were about 40p each, something like that. And then at the back you have this gorgeous storm flap and you have a centre back seam that is flat felled. Now the storm flap is supposed to be a single layer that is hemmed. It's supposed to be hemmed 1 centimetre and then 1 centimetre again. However, I didn't want to do that because I just thought if it sort of flaps about in the breeze, it's going to show the wrong side, and I prefer it to be all enclosed. So I ended up cutting out 2 of the storm flaps and I basted them wrong sides together and then attached them onto the back piece before the whole jacket was constructed, and I think that looks better. It's my personal opinion, but you know, I did think about using some other fabric to line the storm flap with, but I had a look in my stash and there wasn't anything that really worked with this fabric, and to be honest, I didn't want to be buying 1/2 metre of fabric just to line this on this coat. So I just felt that was a bit of a waste, to be honest. So I thought I'm just going to line it with the self fabric, and it's worked beautifully. So yeah, that is essentially it. There's the other sleeve. The sleeves are hemmed with the bias binding as well, and they look really nice. And I absolutely love it. Now, again, I will insert some pictures of me wearing this so you can see what it's like on. Fit-wise, I went with the size 42, the straight size 42. I did add an inch length to the length of the jacket and also to the sleeve length. But apart from that, I made no other adjustments at all. And the fit is great. I think one thing I will say is the drafting is impeccable on their patterns. This is the second Sister Mag pattern that I have attempted now, and yeah, the drafting is great. It's just the instructions. There are a few things that are incorrect, and I did reach out to the designer and she has admitted that herself when she's looked. She said it's in the English translation, that it's come through wrong, but it's weird because when you read the instructions, they don't read as instructions that have been translated into English. You know, sometimes you can read instructions and it's very obvious that it's being written in a different language because of the translation. So some of the grammar's not quite correct. The grammar on this is perfect. So it's almost as if it's been written in English. It's just that there are a couple of errors is what I will say, but I will do a separate review of this pattern where I'll go fully in depth into that. I think for the purposes of today's vlog, what I would say is if you haven't attempted a coat before and you've never done a collar and collar stand, and you've never done sort of this kind of detail on sleeves, I would say avoid this pattern as your first one. Choose something by a designer where you know their instructions are very hand-holdy, because yeah, I think you would potentially struggle a little bit otherwise, but it could just be me, I don't know. But I love it. I really loved it. I just love the fact that it's a short cropped trench coat. It's not something you see, and for me, I tend to, as much as I love long coats, I find that when I'm driving I want to wear a short coat because you can't really wear a long coat when you're in a car. They're very bulky, aren't they? And a lot of the fabric gets in the way. And I know you can take your coat off, but I can't get into a cold car with no coat on because it's just too cold. So I think this is great because now I've got a nice little smart coat that I can get a jumper underneath, plus big scarf, and I can just wear it in and out of my car, going shopping, lunch date, whatever. It's going to work perfectly for me. So I'm really, really happy with it. Would I make it again? Yes, absolutely. I would make it again. I think now that I've made it and I sort of know what I'm doing about a few of those bits where I was like, what? Why are you telling me to do that? That doesn't seem right. I think now I know how it comes together. then I would definitely make it again because it's really lovely design. So yeah, super, super happy with it. The buttons I used are metal buttons. These are metal buttons that I thrifted from a charity shop. So I found them on a coat in a charity shop. I wasn't really interested in the coat, but I loved the buttons and it was covered in them. And the metal really sturdy, and I think they go really well with this coat. So yeah, absolutely love it. And I also put in a little Rosy Cheeks Handmade label. I've not put that on very well at all, have I? There we go. Yes, very, very happy with my gorgeous trench coat. So one more thing to show you. The lovely Alison, who is So Like Dotty, is running a Gift to November sewing challenge at the moment throughout November, where basically you can sew anything you want as a gift for somebody for the festive season, and you could be in with a chance of winning a prize. You just have to post your make on Instagram before the 30th of November, so there is still time. Or if you don't have Instagram, you can email your entry to her. I will leave a link to Alison's channel down in the comments below for you if you are interested in finding out more about that. But I have made my entry over the last couple of days and I can't wait to show you. So you might remember, those of you that have been following me for some time now, that the last couple of years I've made my gorgeous granddaughter Layla a doll for Christmas. And I am a huge fan of the doll designer Studio Seren patterns. I love their aesthetic. I think their patterns are incredible. They come together so well. They look so professional and the instructions are brilliant as well. So I've made a few dolls from their range. They're all animal based, and I think I've done about 5 now for Layla, and I have made another one for her for Christmas this year, and the one that I've made is the unicorn. So here she is. So this is my entry for the Gift to November challenge this year, and the fabric, the main fabric to make these dolls, she recommends you use the Essex yarn dyed linen by Robert Kaufman because it's really sturdy and it takes the sort of weight of the doll and the strength and everything that you need really, really well. And yeah, it's stuffed with toy stuffing. I've used the Essex linen for both the main doll and the hooves and the ears as well. The horn is made from a fat quarter from my stash with some metallic thread that is wrapped around it. I did put the horn in the wrong place, to be honest. Well, not the wrong place, but it was slightly off center. So I ended up taking that off this morning and redoing it. And then she's got a lovely little metallic star as well. Her eyes are embroidered. I've hand embroidered those with just some black embroidery thread along with the snout, and then she's got a little bit of blusher on as well. And the mane is made of wool, and the instructions to create the mane, oh, she's also got a little tail at the back as well. Look, yeah, there she is, there's her tail. So yeah, the instructions to do the mane are just incredible. They really are. So this is all stitched in really well, and use stabilizing tape, use masking tape. It's just incredible how she gets you to create the mane and stitch it in. So it's, you know, it's really, really perfect. Such a professional finish. Just love it. So the dress, when you buy one of her doll patterns, you also get the pattern for the accessories that come with the doll. So whether that is like a little bag or little wings in some cases. And then with this one, you get like a romper, or you can make a little roughly tiered dress like I have. So again, this was quite time consuming, to be honest. This is probably the most time consuming pattern that I've done in relation to these dolls. Making this dress took me as long as probably what it takes me to make a dress for myself. And I think some of that is because it's very fiddly, isn't it, when you're working with small things. But yeah, there's lots of layers to it. So the bodice is a sleeveless bodice that is all fully lined. It's just lined with cotton lawn. The main fabric, I used a fat quarter from my stash, and I had a tiny little bit left. So I did get the entire main dress out of a fat quarter. And then you can see also there's tulle over the top. So I had this beaded tulle in my stash. It's got little beads occasionally all over it, look. And so I used that as well over the top. So that's the top layer over the main fabric, and then you have a lining as well that is lined with some lace from my stash right at the bottom. And then the neckline frill is just trim from my stash. And then at the back, I have some Velcro. It is sort of the stick-on Velcro, but I have stitched it in place to make sure that it's sturdy and that it lasts when she's playing with it. And yeah, I am super, super happy with how she's turned out. I think she's absolutely gorgeous and I've really enjoyed making it. I do love making these dolls. I don't think I would ever just make dolls because, yeah, I love my dressmaking, but it's so nice to make something a bit different. So that is going to be now wrapped in tissue paper to keep her nice and clean, and then wrapped up and sent to Santa Claus for my granddaughter for Christmas. So they are the 3 makes that I've made this week. The last thing that I've got to share with you today are some fabrics that have come into my sewing room. And if you remember, I received a very generous voucher from my gorgeous Northern Soul sisters, Rowan and Tamlin, for my birthday at the beginning of November for the Fabric Obsession, which is the lovely online fabric store run by Adele and Becky, who are Sew for Serenity and What Beck Sews. Now they do have a physical shop now, which is incredible. But last Friday, when they were filming their Friday Live from their new shop, they showed these fabrics and I was just, oh, they're gorgeous. So I have spent my lovely voucher on 3 fabrics from the Fabric Obsession, and they have just come this afternoon, so I thought I would share them with you. So the first one I've got is this really lovely cotton jersey. Now they had this in 2 versions. They've got one with hearts on, I think, but I loved the leopard print with the cherries. So I've got myself 1.5 meters of this. This is a cotton jersey, and it is by the designer Cutie and the Cutest, which is there. It's a really lovely cotton jersey, really nice quality, and I love the pop of red amongst the leopard print. I think it's really, really nice and fun. So I got 1.5 meters of this, and I am going to make another Jackson tee out of this. I think I'm going to pair it with some brown ribbing to pick up the leopard, or I suppose I could use red actually. Red might look nice. If I've got a red that is very similar to the red of the cherries, I might use red because I have some red in my stash, but if I haven't, then I will have to get myself some brown, I think. But yeah, really love that, so thank you girls. That one is called, I've got my invoice here, let me just have a look, Cherry Bombshell. Adele gives all their fabrics the most amazing names. Then the next one that I got is this beautiful fabric called Bloomshalaka, and it's a cotton satin, and this is it here. So it is absolutely gorgeous. These are like my favourite colours, these sort of blues and purples with a hint of pink in there. It is just so tonal and yeah, perfect colours for me, these cool tones. So this is a cotton satin, so it has like the weight and drapiness of a viscose. It handles very much like a viscose, but the satin content in it makes it super soft and buttery, but it's not shiny, so it's matte. Feels gorgeous. I have got 2 meters of this, and the plan with this is to make an atelier jupe pattern. I think it is called the Gabrielle. I'll put a picture of it in so you can have a look. But yes, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous blouse. It's got like these panels in just over the shoulders, and I just think it's beautiful. So I've got 2 meters of this to make that shirt. That's the Bloomshalaka. And then the final one is one that I made a massive, massive error on, because when I input the fabric into my cart, you know, sometimes you just have a bit of a mind blank, and I put 3.5 in because I'm thinking I want 3.5 meters. For some reason, it didn't put the 3.5 in, so it went through the cart as 3. which is actually 1.5 meters because they sell in 1/2 meters. So I'd gone through the checkout and realised I'd only ordered 1.5 meters and I actually wanted 3.5 meters. So I quickly messaged the girls while they were at their lovely sewing retreat last weekend and said, I've made a real boo-boo. Can I order another 2 meters and put it as to collect so you can add it to my other order but cut it all in one piece? And they replied, bless them, and said, yeah, it's fine, don't worry. So I ordered another 2 meters. So I have got 3.5 meters and this is it here. So this is the Jacquardashian Viscose Jacquard. It's absolutely gorgeous. When I saw this, I think it was Adele that showed this on their Friday Live, and I just absolutely loved it. These colours are just so beautiful. So I don't know if you can see the base fabric, that blue has got like a Jacquard effect to it. I am really sort of fighting the light now because the light is fading very quickly. But yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's got this beautiful sort of scattered, splashy, floral print to it. I don't know what you'd call it, to be honest, but it's just gorgeous. So yeah, 3.5 meters of this. And the plan with this one is to make the Karme Apparel, I think it's the Summer Vibes dress. Again, I will put an image of that in there. I just think it will make the most beautiful dress. And I know that that's called the Summer Vibes dress, but I think you can wear that this time of year. There's no law that says you can't, is there? Let's face it. So that is my 3 gorgeous fabrics that I bought this week that didn't really cost me much. It did come to more than the voucher total, but I just added a little bit of my own money towards it. So thank you so much, girls, for my lovely voucher. I hope you approve of what I've bought with it. And thank you also to the lovely Adele and Becky for allowing me to add to my order and, yeah, causing complications. Anyway, I am going to leave it there, guys. That is it today for my Friday sews because the light is fading fast. But I hope you've enjoyed looking at my makes this week and the lovely fabrics that I've got as well. So I am going to say goodbye and I will see you again really soon. Take care.